The Bucs are 2-0, just beat the defending Super Bowl champions, and I now have an idea for my Halloween costume this year. We'll talk about all of that, plus the upcoming game against the Steelers right now. Welcome to the Play Reaction. I'm Corey Draper, and this is the place on YouTube to catch up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you love the Bucs, make sure you subscribe because there will be plenty of videos like this one coming your way all season. And it looks like this will be a good season to follow the team. That's because they're 2-0 and just beat two teams that were in the playoffs last year, including the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. How? Well, unlike last week, it was a full team effort. The offense continued its dominance, the defense covered well in spite of injuries and got pressure on the quarterback, and the special teams even made some big plays as well. Let's take it from the beginning, shall we? The game started off with a deep bomb to Deshaun Jackson. Wait. Sorry, that was last week. Let's try again. The game started off with a deep bomb to Deshaun Jackson. Huh, you would think teams would learn how to cover this guy. Anyway, the offense didn't quite put up 48 points this week, but they were still explosive and made it look easy sometimes. They scored 3 touchdowns in the first half, including this catch and run by O.J. Howard. And check out this key block by Chris Godwin. In the third quarter, they increased the lead to 20 points thanks to this incredible catch by Deshaun Jackson, which set up for a touchdown from Fitz to Mike Evans. The Eagles fought back though and quickly scored after that. In the final minutes of the fourth quarter, the Eagles brought it back to within 1 score, and this game suddenly became a carbon copy of the end of the Saints game. So the offense was given the ball with the task of trying to get first downs and run out the clock for the second week in a row. They did their job yet again, and though they had to give the ball back, the Eagles didn't have enough time for a comeback. The Bucs shocked the nation again and are now 2-0. So here's what's awesome about this game. Once again, Fitzpatrick was Fitzmagic. He had 4 touchdown passes for the second straight week. Once again, the pass catchers were on point, getting open and making big plays. Once again, the offensive line, for the most part, held their own against one of the toughest defensive lines in the league. Let's face it, guys, this offense is legit. People keep asking me if it's because of Fitzpatrick, but that's because they didn't watch this team in the preseason. If they had, they would have realized that this offense under Todd Monken has been doing this ever since preseason week 1 against the Dolphins. We all just blew it off because it was against vanilla defenses. And rightfully so, you can't draw too many conclusions from preseason games. You can look at trends, however, and one trend this year was that no matter who was at QB, whether it was Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston, or Ryan Griffin, the offense moved the ball and scored points. To me, that means that I'm fairly confident in this offense no matter who's starting at QB in week 4. But we're not getting into that argument just yet. As for the defense, they stood tall in the face of adversity. They were out 2 starting cornerbacks and still played a heck of a game in coverage. The defensive line got a lot of pressure, caused some sacks, and held up pretty well in the run game too. One guy that deserves a ton of credit, and quite honestly might have been the player of the game on defense, is Ryan Smith. Smith has not been great every time he's been out there at corner. He often gets beat, and I was nervous about him starting this game. But Smith played the game of his life. He had some huge tackles, pass breakups, and even some key plays on special teams. That last one is actually something he's done pretty often. Kudos to Smith and the rest of the defense for stepping up big in spite of injuries. And now for what's not so awesome. While I've been praising this whole offense, I should mention that the running game has been a little lacking. Peyton Barber is a solid running back and keeps the ball moving forward, which is great, and better than what we had last year. But when we needed them to run out the clock and get some first downs, none of them could get anything going. Now some of that could be on the offensive line and the great defensive line of the Eagles, but playmakers find a hole in that situation. And we just don't have any playmakers at that position, which may bite us later on once defenses find a game plan to stop the pass. Something else that was concerning was the play at right guard. Caleb Benenoch got schooled quite often by Fletcher Cox. Granted, that's something that Cox does a lot, so we can't dog Caleb too much for that. It also didn't help that DeMar Dotson on his right side didn't have a great game either. And yes, fine, I'll talk about the kicker. Chandler Catanzaro missed an extra point. That's 2 weeks in a row with a miss that almost came back and bit the Bucs. He's still the best we've had over the last couple of years, so it looks like we may just be stuck with a mediocre to sometimes good kicker. Not great, but not Aguayo. Let's just hope he's not in a situation where he can cost us a game in the future. But out with the old, let's look ahead to next week's game. The 2-0 Bucs will face the 0-1 Steelers on Monday Night Football. This will be a major test for the Bucs defense, much like the Saints game. The Steelers are a high-flying offense, capable of getting into a shootout themselves. Case in point, they lost to the Chiefs on Sunday, 42-37. They were down 21-0 in the first quarter, and then came back and tied the game at 21 by halftime. They then fell behind KC again by 2 touchdowns, but then climbed right back to make it a 1-score game. In the end, they lost, but this means that no lead is safe with this team. The offense is too good with Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and even backup running back James Conner. The good news is their defense is clearly shaky. They allowed Pat Mahomes, a guy who is only making his second career start, throw for over 300 yards and 6 touchdowns. They also allow the tight end Kelsey to have 2 touchdowns, which bodes well for O.J. Howard and or Cameron Brate. On our side, let's hope that Brent Grimes is finally healthy and able to start playing, because I have a feeling we'll need him. We get an extra day of rest, so hopefully that will allow some of the banged up guys to recover for the big nationally televised showdown. But hey, we have this guy as our quarterback.
It's nothing. I mean, I think we just have to stay humble, you know, and we got to make sure we know how to handle success and all those things, so we can't change who we are.
Everything's gonna be just fine. So what do you think? Can the Bucs really go 3-0? Will they be able to hold off the Steelers' dynamic offense? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for today, guys. And remember, if you like this content, I ask that you consider donating on Patreon. And a very special shout out to Patreon supporter Gamedog. And if you like going to Bucs games, download the SeatGeek app, buy your tickets through there, and use the promo code PLAYREACTION. If you do that, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. As always, remember to subscribe and follow me on social media. That's the best way to chat Bucs football with me throughout the week. Can't wait until Monday night when we beat the Steelers and induct my hero into the Ring of Honor. Go Bucs!